Hello everyone and welcome to another Hallow Caesar review. Tonight I am reviewing a digital implementation of Cottage Garden, a board game originally designed by U. Rosenberg. And this digital implementation is brought to us by Digidiced. They have a few other games out there. Patchwork is one that is very similar in feel to this because of the designer and the fact that you have Tetris-like pieces that you're trying to put onto a little grid. And so it definitely is different than Patchwork in its scoring and the strategy there. But if you are familiar with those, with Patchwork and U. Rosenberg, you have to know that this game is going to be good. I have not played the board game in person, so this was my first introduction to the game. I learned how to play the game through the tutorial provided, and it does a pretty good job. There was only one spot that I found a little confusing from first off. Other than that, it actually does a pretty good job at getting into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up just a game that I had just barely started. So this is the very beginning of a game, a two-player game, and with a computer. So the object of the game is to complete these flower beds. So each player has 2 flower beds to work with, and you can build and plant flowers into either one. And you have 4 tiles, or currently I have 4 tiles to choose from. This row is the ones that I will have to choose from. And the next row is the 4 that my opponent will choose from. And then this will be my row again, my opponent, and then it's going to switch around and it's going to go in a circle, this little arrow up here of what tiles. And strategically speaking, I think this one will be good because you're trying to complete these flower beds as quickly as you can with as many points on each flower bed as you can. Each flower pot represents 1 point basically, and each of these plant covers, the little white circles here, are 2 points each. So we could place that one there. There's also this one, which has a flower pot on it. So this is it's going to cover up 2 of the squares, but it's also going to give us another point. We may want to do that. Why don't we just do that? So you can rotate the pieces. You can flip them. Obviously, in this case, it's not going to do much. And then we're going to go ahead and confirm placement of that tile. Now, I really enjoy this because the confirmation and everything, because I have fat fingers, and sometimes it's hard to maneuver these little phone games. The other aspect of it is each person starts with 2 little cat tokens. Now, the cat tokens can be played before or after planting. And you can do multiple ones. So that's another reason why you have the kind of second confirmation. I'm not going to do that right now, but cats basically help fill holes in your flower beds to complete them, but they are worth no points. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. We'll see what the opponent does. Computer, plants 1. Okay, so now we're over here. My turn again. We're going to go grab this big guy. That works perfect. So as you can see, the gameplay actually is fairly quick, back and forth. The one thing I was going to mention, I don't think I can actually open up my opponent's board, but the one thing that I didn't notice, and I don't know if the tutorial actually pointed this out and I missed it, or if it didn't really cover it, but I didn't realize that the tiles that had flower pots, and my opponent just took one, and you can see on his board, it clearly shows that the little blue icon for the flower or the pot cover, plant cover, whatever it's called, indicating that that is going to be worth 2 points. And the first time I played, the computer kept taking the tiles that are only like one space, or this one here that's only 2 spaces. And you're trying to fill as many of those squares as you can. And I was just so confused. I'm like, why are they doing that? Because they don't score, and I'll show you, they don't score like the other ones do. So usually when you complete this, it's going to count. You'll see a bunch of numbers come up, and it'll be like +1, +2, +1, +2, +2. And then it doesn't show anything for that. But when you complete a flower bed, you then have to choose in what order you're going to remove these tiles and place it back in this long line behind the wheelbarrow. Because as this thing empties, it's going to pull from the front of the wheelbarrow to refill what's available to pull into your flower beds. Okay, so that is the only thing from the tutorial. And playing a game or two, I was like, what is going on? But in this simplified view of each person's 2 flower beds, you can actually see that it designates it as indeed a plant cover, and this is a flower pot that will count as points. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have much. Oh no, see, I just placed that one. So what's going on? Oh, okay, here we go. I don't know what happened, but there we go. Confirm. And so I think I don't know if it's an actual gardener in the game, but it's going to just rotate around. And then once it gets around here, that's going to be the end of round. Our first round in a 2-player game. In a 2-player game, I believe it starts in round 2 because you're playing shorter rounds. I could be mistaken on that, but let's see. Do I have anything good here? I guess we can take this one for now. I want to. The other thing of note is you can start building on. You build on both. You don't have to. I'm just going to try to complete this one as quickly as I can so that we can kind of show you how the scoring works. But as you can see, the artwork on it is great. I don't know how much they deviated or if they were pretty dead on with the artwork. You'll see there's a bunch of mice and like ladybugs and stuff skittering across the screen, which I think adds a nice touch. The grass has some sway to it. The cat's heads are moving around a little bit. The music is fairly nice as well. And it's there's not much variation, so it is a nice calming music. I think it's well chosen for the game, but it just comes to the point where it's like, oh, okay, I'm tired of hearing this over and over and over again, especially when you play it as much as I do. So anyway, it's a great game, and I don't have a tile to finish that. But so as these cat tokens, you can place as many as you want before or after planting. You do not have to always plant those. Instead, you could place at any time one of the flower pots. Okay, and that's going to complete it for me. Like I said, it shows you those points. Now watch. As I return this one, it's going to show up with another +1. Okay, so now it's going to pull up the scoreboard here. Now, the scoring of this is a little interesting because you'll see here I've had, I can't remember now. It's already moved off. I think it was 4 flower pots and a total of 3 the plant covers. And what that does is I get to move the flower pot, the orange tokens. I have 3 down here. I get to choose 1 to move that many spaces. Okay. Now, as you'll see, once you reach 7 or higher, you see this line here with the mice. Whenever you have a token past those, you get another little kitty cat. Okay, and low battery. It's all right. We'll make it through. You'll notice on the blue side for the plant covers, For each of those, it's going to be worth 2 points. We're going to be moving one of these tokens 3 spaces, but it's going to be 6 points. Okay. The other thing of note, so you're also kind of a race of sorts. The first one to get to the top is going to get one of these Beehive tokens. The first one's going to get the double Beehive, which is worth 2 points, and the second person to get, or the second, it could be the same person, but the second token up there, that player then gets the other Beehive token, which is, again, 1 bonus point for that. You'll also notice that it's a big jump at the end. So you're trying to get your pieces there and try to do it in a way where you're maximizing your movement on the board. Because then as you get up to the very top, you jump 5 extra points there. And it's going to be jumping from, instead of 14 to 16, 14 to 20 as well. So we're going to just choose one there. And you see it's moved. And we'll confirm. And that's how the game is played. The board up here, this other board at the top right here, is going to be the next flower board. So as someone finishes, my opponent here is almost done with this his first flower bed. And this will be the one that is going to replace that one. So play just progresses like this. It's going to, when you get to a spot where there are less than 2, or there's 3 open spaces, then it's going to pull from the wheelbarrow. Okay, the first 3 will fill those slots right there. Okay, so you can plan ahead. You can also click right here to see like way in the future. I don't know how. I haven't really used that a whole lot, and maybe that's just because I'm not as good at this game yet, but I haven't used it that often. I mostly just kind of follow the what's shown up here. So the game will progress. It'll fill up there, and you just keep going and rotating around. When it gets to the last round, the other interesting aspect of this is if you have any flower beds with 3 or more tiles in there, I believe it's 3 or more, or maybe it's more than 3, then you have to continue playing that last round until you complete it. As you get to that last round, any flower beds that have less than that, you don't score any points, and it's just discarded. But that's a good thing in a manner, because you don't want to have any incompletes, because as that last round at the beginning of each turn that you don't have everything completed, you have to move one of these tokens that you've moved down 2 spaces. That's not good. Or 2, I can't remember if it's 2 spaces or 2 points, but it's very painful. The other thing, I guess, I forgot to mention as well, is you also get a bonus for moving all your orange tokens off of the bottom row. You immediately get to place a flower pot, same as the blue tokens. So when those are all removed, you will immediately get to place a flower pot. You can't have more than 2 kitty cats. If you do, you're going to have to immediately place or utilize those. I think that's about it. You do not need exact movement to get to the top, but again, you're kind of wasting, if you're at 14 and you have 4 moves, you're going to be wasting 2 of your moves there, because you can't split it among the different ones. Okay. So that is Cottage Garden Digital Implementation by Digidiced. It is really, really well done.